The topic I'm about to come on to next is what some people are calling the biggest medical scandal of the century. I'm not going to start waffling on about this because joining me live next to me, what a treat to be in the studio with us, everybody. It's our very own, GP News' very own Andrew Doyle. So I'm going to hand over the reins to you to bring everyone up to speed. What is this WPATH thing and why would the viewers be passionate, or should they be passionate about it?
Thanks, Michelle. It's especially important that we're talking about it because so few media outlets are covering this particular scandal. WPATH is the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. They're an American-based organisation that was formed in 1979. They are the leading global authority on trans treatment across the world for individuals who are suffering from what used to be called gender identity disorder and is now called gender dysphoria. They are very important. The WPATH files, which are a recently leaked tranche of internal messages, conversations, video clips of senior clinicians at WPATH discussing how you treat people who identify as transgender, including children as young as 9. And they're talking about these things. There's messages from their internal chat system. All of this was leaked to a man called Michael Schellenberger, a journalist. It was written up in a report by a journalist called Mia Hughes, which is available now. What it shows, and this is the key finding, what it shows is that there are a lot of senior clinicians within WPATH who are not, by the way, speaking on behalf as spokespeople of WPATH, that's important to emphasise, but they are nonetheless saying that they engage in practices, including surgery such as nullification, the removal of the testes, the kind of surgery that effectively destroys sexual function and ends in sterility, even when it comes to children. And that what these files reveal is that a lot of the people involved in those kind of practices, a lot of the clinicians are fully aware that their patients cannot give informed consent. They talk about how there's even conversations where one clinician says, oh, yes, well, you know, this kid hasn't even done a biology qualification at high school. You know, so they know that these people can't give informed consent. They're talking about the castration and irreversible surgery on people who have a schizophrenic disorder, dissociative disorder, people who cannot possibly consent to this. They even know that the parents don't understand what's going on. So all of this is going on, and this is especially important because they're also aware that overwhelmingly the children who get referred for gender dysphoria are same-sex attracted. When Hannah Barnes wrote her book about the Tavistock Clinic, she found that between 80 and 90% of adolescents referred were same-sex attracted. What that means is that we have the NHS effectively fixing gay kids, sterilising gay kids and putting them on a pathway.
Conversion therapy, no?
Gay conversion therapy on the NHS, not to put too fine a point on it. So it does matter, and it matters for us because WPATH has been hugely influential on policy regarding trans treatment across the globe, including the NHS. There was a document in 2013 written by the NHS about gender dysphoria saying we explicitly follow the WPATH guidelines. WPATH issued a draft of their standards of care in 2022, which was uploaded by NHS Scotland, in which they included a section on eunuch identity and how it's important that if someone identifies as a eunuch, medical practitioners should be facilitating the castration of those patients. That was uploaded on an NHS site. I should say the NHS apologised and then tried to distance themselves from WPATH.
The challenge is, I mean, because I want to just reiterate, I know you've just mentioned it, but I want to reiterate to you guys at home that this is, like we've just been saying, within this collection of people, there are people that absolutely are advising UK policy, and we all know by now that so many children, they do seem to be confused. Maybe it's natural confusion, maybe it's a created confusion based on all this content, left, right and centre, that's bombarding these kids, telling them that they can actually change their sex. If you're a boy, you can become a girl and vice versa. You cannot change your biological sex, by the way. It's all nonsense. But putting these kids onto a medicalised path where they will have potentially long-lasting, potentially even lifelong-lasting damage to their fertility and goodness only knows what, it's an absolute disgrace and something which really concerns me, certainly as a parent, and should concern most parents and grandparents, etc. Paul, where are you on it?
I think some of these people should be sent to prison. Yeah, I don't say that for dramatic effect, but when you look at the damage they've done to young children who can't give that informed consent, it seems to me almost as about as serious a crime as you can commit. And I think these people need to be sent to prison, and I think we need to take stock of as a society very quickly and ask why we are allowing this madness to take root in our society. I really think that future generations will look back on this generation and think that we've taken leave of our senses, that we've believed in, some form of astrology or alchemy or some fairy tale, and people are paying a huge price for it. Kids are paying a huge price for it and are marked for the rest of their lives. It's
Ben
appalling.
Habib, what do you think?
Well, I completely agree with everything Paul said. I'm intrigued that gender dysphoria, as I understand it, Andrew, is a mental health issue, isn't it?
Well, it was considered a mental health issue.
And instead of treating the mental health issue, they're actually pandering to the mental health issue. And that's what I really don't get, And I see that, I don't know if I'd love your view on this. I see this as part of a much bigger attack on basic common sense in the United Kingdom, almost trying to turn on its head our ability to think straight. The hijacking of our language, the hijacking of our history, our culture, telling us that our forefathers were all slave traders, making us ashamed of ourselves, discombobulating us, particularly, again, coming back to, hijacking our language and the way words are used. And this seems just another extension of that, a kind of internal malignant disease that is eating away at the British people.
It's very important that you say that, because the reason this is happening is because now we know from the files there are activists very high up within this movement who have changed the idea that we should approach these people who are feeling these feelings of gender dysphoria as a psychiatric issue, that they should have a psychotherapeutic treatment, what they now call trans-conversion therapy, and they've shifted it to say we need to medicalise.
I want to just read in, bring in a statement actually from the MD, the president of WPATH. They say WPATH is and has always been a science and evidence-based organisation whose recommendations are widely endorsed by major medical organisations around the world. We are the professionals who best know the medical needs of trans and gender diverse individuals, and we stand opposed to individuals who misrepresent and delegitimise the diverse identities and complex needs of this population through scare tactics. The world is not flat. Gender, like genitalia, is represented by diversity. The small percentage of the population that is trans or gender diverse deserves healthcare and will never be a threat to the global gender binary. What? What is even the global gender binary? Anyway, what do you say in response to that?
It is disingenuous to invoke flat earthism, because that's precisely what they are doing. They are basing all of their analysis and evidence on a belief system that we have a kind of gendered soul, and that the way to deal with that is to change the body, fix the body in accordance. So I would say to that they are basically peddling a quasi-religious, pseudo-scientific approach. They're not evidence-led, but that's what they claim.
I just want to say as well, you've got a special programme on this coming up, yeah?
Yeah, we're doing a full 2 hours on Free Speech Nation this Sunday at 7 o'clock, where we are going to go into the WPATH files, talk to various experts, clinicians, medical people, commentators. We're going to find out what it says, what it means, what are the ramifications.
Well, I, for one, shall be watching. If anyone has children, grandchildren, etc., or just an interest in reality and medical health, etc., I recommend that programme to you too.